Now, there we go, we want this one. Everything's content, so I figured while my t-shirt's poking out the bottom there still and I can show you what's going on. So, just on the unboxing of this particular Kickstarter set for Acid House Terrain's Fantasy Bundle, but right now I am just putting it together, so I figured you guys might want to stick around and watch some of that. Just bring up my chat box, just in case any of you jump in. Cool. Right. Sorry, setting everything up. So far, all I've been putting together is some of the floors and stuff. So I did one of the towers during the unboxing, and that is, you know, a pretty simple and effective tower. It was sturdy enough, but now that I've worked out how to put this all together, I've started doing that, but I figured I could show you guys in another small video. So I will continue to put together the houses and the walls and stuff, and yeah, just chill out really. What I noticed was I really like these floors. This cardstock here is really thick, and I like that a lot. But it's really simple, or it has been so far, to get these together. So it says that he then struggles to get in. And it just pushes down into it. And that is, because it's slightly elevated as well, it's really rigid, and it gives that squareness to it. And then you can't see all of those black House A, House B and House C bits that were there before. So I think that's actually, I mean, that is a pretty good tabletop house. And I think with the addition of scatter terrain and extra bits, that's going to be pretty cool. But we're going to continue to just put stuff together, just chilling out. If anybody wants, I will add this to YouTube later. I don't think it's that important. I think Acid House Terrain have probably got a decent YouTube video on how to put this stuff together, but figured I'd just stream this while I'm here. And if anybody wants to come in, ask some questions about it, they absolutely can. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to ask in the comments. This particular house has been a bit fiddly. I'm just going to fold that round a bit more. I'm not being that gentle anymore. I was, during the unboxing, trying to be gentle, and actually I realised I really didn't need to be. This stuff is really kind of holding it together. Turn that down a little bit. Yeah. It's going to look good on the shelf as well, I think. That's 4 of the houses. Right. There we go. Do those ones. Trying to work out if it's easier to put it in from the bottom or the top, and I think the bottom is going to win. Yeah, it's a lot easier to get it in. That's, so far, the 5 houses with their floors. Let's have a look at their roofs. So I've got the 2 blue, and around here somewhere, as he was throwing stuff about earlier, should be the red ones. There we go. Now I imagine that these particular chimney areas, or these stacks, I'm going to presume that those holes go over there, and that you can straight up just lift them off to remove them. So I don't think they'd make it too complex or too folding to lock it in place. Okay, yeah, it slots on quite nicely. Look at that. 1 house. I do like that it's not just little tabs. I know that with the Icewind Dale, the WizKids ones, they obviously that was a really thick mounting board kind of foam, and you could see all the tabs. But at least they've like done the kind of stacks of stone there to give it a aesthetic look. It's a good little house. that'll definitely do for some tabletop terrain. Let's keep going though. What's going on over here? I went through during the unboxing. If you haven't seen it, I'll put that up on YouTube. And just talked about kind of like how much I paid for this and how much you can get it for now. I don't think it's released in stores yet because I've only just got the Kickstarter fulfillment. But I paid for the 100% box, which you can see the pledges and what you get in there still on their Kickstarter page for Acid House Terrain. You can see the prices of everything on there. And I believe on GameFound you can go on and you can late pledge on there. And I'll stick some links to that if I put this on YouTube. If not, if it's way into the future from this point, well, I'm sure you can just type in Acid House Terrain and it'll come up. Also got some awesome fantasy, awesome sci-fi stuff that I am probably going to get hold of, if I'm being honest, because it's pretty awesome. There you go, that's a red roof. So we have same sort of house, but this one's more stone than stucco. Very basic, but one red roof on stone, and that roof is removable, so you can use it as a playable interior, and that, for me, is a big one. Being able to have players go, right, I'm going to get into this house here and use it as cover, or, you know, you could have things in there that they need to go exploring, they need to pick the right house, they need to save civilians from a dragon attack, who knows? Buy space for this all now. I mean, it's all going together relatively easy, though. Can't complain at that, with a little bit of looking around at everything once I had some time and I wasn't just doing the unboxing. It actually was really, really simple. Let's try that bit again. I always say the simple bits and then I go and mess it up. Standard me. Yeah, look at that. We have 5 houses. They're all decent sizes. I mean, that's, again, I'm going to bring in some minis just so you can see the sizes. You've got standard DragonBorn there. That's comparatively a manticore and a gargantuan red dragon. You know, there are some pretty big medium and small minis next to the basic houses, which is more than you want, really. It's fantastic. I'm going to put those down there for now until I work out where I'm going to put them in the studio, because this is going to take up some shelf space. However, that shelf's going to look pretty. What have we got next? So, I showed you the walkways in the unboxing video as well. That's what they look like when you've assembled them. There's a regular side and there's a gridded side, and everything in here is gridded. And once you've got like the ramparts on, if I've got one of my towers that has that, they then connect like so. And those little boxes that I couldn't work out what they were, I believe are the steps for those. So they will quite literally go in there, or like actively try and put those together. There you go. So you should see that there's like a little step now, and that will go just on there, and then join to another one. So having those bridges, those walkways, you can destroy those in games. You could, you know, make it so that like players are channeled, bottlenecked, or, you know, other way around. Players can do that to your NPCs, your bad guys, or your opposition can do it to you. So I like that as well. Small temple. Once more, it's just a 4-sided sleeve, but that sleeve goes inside one of these ones to create those small buildings. It's quite a cool little small temple, little mausoleum, like that. Haven't worked out the stairs yet. Still trying to figure that out, because it's like an extra bit there. So I'm going to read the instructions. So we have it out like that. Oh, I think it recesses inside. That's kind of cool. So I think... Actually, I was trying to fold it the wrong way, maybe. Maybe not. This bit's certainly interesting. Acid House Terrain, if you're watching and I'm making a fool of myself, do shout out. I may have to look at the instructions online for that. It would make sense that it's that way round. I'm going to try it this way round. So I'm trying to recess the actual stone bits and the steps into the steps because there seems to be that extra flap that looks like it goes in and on itself. So what I'm trying to do is get that in there like so and give it back its rigidity, which I think is the point. And those black bits would go against there. Like so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that is what we're supposed to be doing. So it's recessed in at the back, and then you've got those 1-inch grids and those stairs for elevation just there. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what's happening. You can't stop me. We're working on the fountain. Same thing as before. This one acts like one of the small towers. Same principle, but obviously a lot smaller. That one goes all the way to the top, and you have a little fountain. Nice little scatter terrain. We've got the warehouse here, so we're going to put warehouse C in. Warehouse C is the bottom. So it all goes together pretty simple once you begin looking at it. And when you start working it all out. Yeah, definitely easier to go in from the bottom on those ones. Obviously, the walls at the top there, that's going to be slightly different. That's ruins, that's a sentry post. I need the warehouse top. Don't think I have here just now. No. That's fine. I'll find those in a bit and we'll put it together. I like those bridges. That will work on some pretty standard terrain as well. You could use that over sewers, tiles. You could use that in dungeons. It's quite modular. I like that a lot. It's quite nice. I'm not getting glue all over my hands. Over there for now, so don't need those ones. What have we got? What are you? Wall. So, all A ruins, all A ruins, all A ruins. We don't want those ones. Barracks is there. That's the sentry post. We don't want those ones. That one is the bell tower. We don't want that one. Temple, temple, temple. Temple. So I guess I'm working on the temple next. Let's have a look. Sorry. Let's have a look here. What's going on? Right. Sorry about that. Responding. Let's do the temple since we've got that here. It's such a big building. I mean, that's a pretty big room. I reckon do this one first. Yeah, that should start giving it some shape, and then we'll get Temple Room 2. Oh, this one's a little stiffer. There we go. We're in. It's nice not to have to force things. These have been put together really well. I'd say put together. These have been designed very well, and that nice floor in there is pretty rigid. Yeah, that's cool. Very happy with that. I guess we'll do the second temple then. All the excitement today. Go in from the bottom on this one again, I think. We're going to try the bigger room first this time. See how that makes a difference when putting these together. Very interested to see the sci-fi sets, because I think I missed out on that Kickstarter. And now I really want them. I think with the sci-fi games that I'm currently playing, they would be very, very useful to me. Especially with some of the sci-fi games we've got coming up. I would like them greatly. So I think, Acid House Terrain, you may have another customer incoming for some more stuff soon. Alright, I'm going to put those ones down there. Now they're together. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Let's grab some stuff. There's Tower Ruins. Where are we? I'm going to grab some of these inners. So, we've got our elevation unit. That can go down there as well. Sentry Post A. So, I think I had... There we go. So we've got the Sentry Post here. So this one is one of the raised ones. Like a small tower. Like a Sentry Post. We're going to... Yeah. It's as simple as that. Once you get the hang of this, it's really quite simple to put together. And that's going to be very basic. Very easy and basic to put together. Effective terrain is the main thing here. I think they've designed a good product. Let's see which side you're going in. Just there. So the bell tower is almost all the way to the top there. Less of a... Is it a rampart? I don't know, correct me in the comments. Actually, I'm going to put the other smaller scatter. So, warehouse. There we go. We've got the warehouse floor in there already. However... Now... This seems like quite a big... floor to have in there at the top if you were to try and play on the interior. But I mean, seems to work, and I guess you just grab these out. Oh, I don't like that. Okay, so if you want to play on the inside, you might have to take the bottom out. Or if I've done something wrong, Acid House Terrain, correct me. At least it's rigid, that is solid. Sentry Post C, so I think that was the Sentry Post. Yeah. Interesting. So it seems that when you've got your sentry posts and you've got your towers and you've got everything else that has a playable interior. So those are ones that like you can take off the roof and then you have the wooden floors on the inside, which is great that we get those because it gives us more storytelling objectives. We can use them for, you know, right, you're in the bottom bit here, so let's have a look. What it will make hard, however, is the need to tell more, well, not tell more story, to have to take things off the map. If we're telling a story where you and the players around your table are infiltrating a castle and there's a sentry post and they go in through this door and you've got it set up on the table like this because they're coming in from the outside, they're not going to see in that room, you do then have to get these out. That seems a little, I mean, I'm having to get my finger right in there for those bits, and I don't know if I'm missing something, but it also doesn't give you much room for scatter terrain, and that came apart quite easily actually, that bottom bit anyway. And then you've got these flaps here that I guess you then have to fold open like a takeaway box. Don't know how I feel about that. That's a little bit, I don't know if it's clumsy, but it's going to be at the table when you've got to take it off the map, and then I think you're going to lose a bit of immersion if you have to do that. However, if there is more than one sentry post, which there might be in this set, you could have one preset out, or you could have one basically just the flooring. You could basically take this off and replace it with that there and say, right, you're inside there, and then when they get back to it, you replace it with that one there. So I think there are workarounds to that. Haven't thought about that yet with these. So I've got here barracks. So once again, it looks like we're getting the same thing. So that's the barracks roof, and this one is the barracks floor. Again, so once they're inside their sleeve walls, they will be like so. However, having to remove certain bits to get at them seems a little at risk of me ripping things. My dyspraxia does make my hand-eye coordination somewhat tedious at times. Right. Towers. So we've got one there. I'm going to go on to the next ones here. I think realistically as well, it's been, what, about 20 minutes of me putting this stuff together? And if, a lot of the times, you know, you are a DM that plays from home, and most of the time I do play from this room here, you could just leave these set up. You can absolutely just put these on your shelf and grab them as and when you need them. That will absolutely work. Just going to go a bit further down on that one. There you go. So some more towers. And I think that's probably what I will do, but at least I know that if I do need to go anywhere, and or if I'm playing somebody else's and they want to do it at their house, they can be like, hey, can you bring over this? And if it's in this set, I can just unfold it, pack it down, put it in a box or a bag, probably in a decent hard folder or book to keep it flat, and then take it over. But it's been, what, 20, 25 minutes, and I've done pretty much all of this box. It is almost all standing, which is, it's not bad for putting terrain together. I've spent longer putting together 40k maps or putting together some Necromunda, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And once more, I think I'd definitely be happy to try out the sci-fi ones, especially for those games like 40k and Necromunda and Starfinder and Traveller and Legion, because you've got that elevation, you've got those line of sights, and I think it's nice to have a massive sci-fi terrain for like cities and, you know, dystopias like that. I think that that's a very cool thing to have. So I'm gonna definitely go out of my way to back those. But I mean, you know, 5 towers is quite a lot of terrain. If you think about 3D printing and how long it takes to 3D print one of these, I mean, that's, if I was doing that at 0.2 mil layer height, something that tall and that space, you'd probably try and get 2 or 3 of these, maybe even 4 on a build plate. And then you've got a lot of elevation up. That's going to be a day, 2 days at least to print. But I mean, 4 of those, that's pretty pretty good for saying it's all done with a bit of cardstock. Yeah, that's going to be very immersive for players. I look forward to bringing this to the table. Maybe some Curse of Strahd. You all know Ravenloft has got some large castle areas to that particular setting, and that could be quite fun to engage the players there. I certainly know that if you do the Ttrpg deck reading properly, you can end up facing Strahd in Castle Barovia. But we want stuff like this so that we can change it all up. And it's nice that it's modular, you know? Those towers could be sentry posts, they could be castles, they could be a wizard school. You know, if you're playing Strixhaven, there's a pretty good castle to have if you're doing your, like, arcane tests and stuff, or if you're facing off against other wizards. Sorry, that is the wall. That's one of the walls. So, I mean, that with the towers, I'm going to put the box in properly. So that is a bit of an issue then, I guess, is that, like, they do slip out somewhat if you press them down a bit further than you should. That, I suppose, is a me issue, not really a them. But if you've got, you know, towers, it's a gatehouse. 2 towers and a gated front. I think I'd have liked to have seen a larger gate entrance. That could have been quite cool, like a drawbridge one. Not necessarily that it was moving, but like a big arch. That could have been really good. But I mean, that's pretty big. That's going to make some good terrain, especially for those NPCs, for those monsters, for those players who fly. That could be very useful in those situations. What have we got here? Tower ruins, barracks wall ruins, tower ruins. I've got them over here. I look forward to not having a mess everywhere. I think thinking about Strahd as well with these ruins, you've got Argynvost Holt, is it? Ooh, that's tough to get in. Argynvost Holt, so obviously like part of the adventure if you end up choosing that, so in the Ttrpg reading from Madame Ava, if you end up at Argynvost Holt, this is a ruined castle. I'm not going to give too much away for those of you who haven't played it yet, but for what you face there, these ruins could be really good. Maybe as an entry point into Argynvost Holt, or maybe as your escape, or maybe just as a cool battle against whatever you may find there. That one was easier from the top than the bottom, so I felt a lot of resistance trying to come in from the bottom. So yeah, I definitely would suggest with those ones to go in from the top. But that, again, it's pretty rigid, and see if I drop my bottle of water everywhere. I mean, that's... You can't say fairer than that for card. So let's keep going on the tower ruins. And hopefully, I'll find some space for these on a shelf somewhere. I doubt you want to see that bit. Don't know if these are, like, not perfectly square. Maybe that's slightly rectangular, but sometimes it's a bit easier to get it in one way than the other. There's that one. That's 2 of the 5. I do hope, though, is that the music's not too loud. I realise it's going off next to me quite loud, but that's wall ruins. I'll get to those in a minute. I need the other. These are wall, that's tower. Have you ever put together those 3D jigsaws? This is kind of like that, but a bit more simple. At least you know where things are going to be because they're labelled. I think we put together the Hogwarts one. I say we. My family and I tried to put together the Hogwarts one over Christmas, and I walked out of the room and left it to my wife and my mother-in-law because they had more patience than I. It's good fun, though. This is my kind of put together. It's a lot simpler. So, wall ruins. We've got these over here. Yeah, I think this is going to make a great Argynvost hole, or if you're playing in my campaign setting of Agarath, then somewhere on Tothar or Lothar, a desert area in my campaign setting that my players are heading towards soon, then this could be very useful. I certainly know that the rest of the walls and stuff will be useful. I think for any fantasy setting, if you've watched Critical Role, if you've watched Dimension 20, if you've watched High Rollers, there are all those different places within those settings as well where this could all be used, which is super cool. All the different campaign books. I mean, if you take things like Icewind Dale. Icewind Dale has got a vast amount of hidden areas of ancient civilizations that could have this kind of terrain in there. Although that would be quite cool to see some, those of you that know the campaign setting, things like the Necropolis. Terrain like that would be quite cool to see in this form. Those kind of like ancient floating cities. Those kind of, yeah, Necropolis or, what's the one from Crit Roll? I've forgotten the name of it. Shocking. That's going to really bother me, that is. And in about 2 minutes, I'm going to scream and shout the actual name of it. But, and now I'm going to keep putting these together. So these are the big walls. We're back onto those ones there. Again, that's easier from the top. This one is one without a door. Again, all of that brickwork. It's nice that it's been detailed really well. Keep going. I think the stairs were definitely the trickiest bit to do in all of these. It was, yeah, definitely fiddlier. That's okay. I think there's only a couple of them, so we'll, once I put those together later, I'll keep them like that. And they're nice and small, so you don't need to pack them down if you're going anywhere. They can go in on top of the bag, or box, or whatever it is you're taking in. Or taking your terrain in. This could be good for shops, for anywhere that holds and hosts games. Yeah, your local, friendly local gaming stores. These would be quite good for you for keeping them flat in storage, and when you've got those nights where people are playing high fantasy or need some high fantasy terrain, that could be very, very good for you to keep hold of these there. That's the barracks. We'll do that one later. I haven't got to the wall for that yet. Yeah, once you get the gist of this, it's really quite simple. I'm looking forward to making a town up. Another castle with a castle door with a door. Castle wall with a door. English. Ugh. Brain's not on it today. How are you guys? Right. Barracks. It's going to be easier from the top or the bottom. Probably from the bottom. Less, actually. I might put the bigger one in first. See if that gives me the stability and the rigidity I need to put in the floor. I think because this is like a short and longer building, it's a bit more tedious. Yeah, there we go. So, while that one's in there, before I go all the way down, I'm going to fold this one over. Put that one in there. Then we're going to go down. There you go. We have the barracks. I do like that they put the doors on there. Obviously, you could use 3D printed ones, or you could use the cardstock ones. I know there's many different places that do modular doors that you can do for flat dungeon maps and stuff. TT Combat are a local one to here. They've done MDF laser cut ones that are quite easy to put together and paint up. So now it's the trees. Now the trees have got a lot of these like really thin trunks to them, so I'm a bit worried about like folding the wrong place or making a mess of this. So I'm going to fold it against the table. And this is only my assumption of how this is supposed to go. I actually am jumping the gun a bit with this one. I probably should have gone and had a look at these ones properly. Let's see what we've got here. So I guess they just go like that. Doesn't seem to be like a catch or a latch or anything else. So maybe you just fold them to where you want them. Yeah, not really too sure how they're supposed to go or stay. There's a nice little cluster of trees, but I'm not sure how they're supposed to be, so I'm not going to go too far with them. I'm probably not going to do the rest of those until I know what I'm doing, because I don't want to break any of them. So these ones can go down there, and I think that's it all together. Which is, what, how long's it been? 35 minutes to do the entire box minus the floor mat. It's pretty simple once you get it. Yeah. Well, if you do end up with this set, I hope it's as easy to put together as it has been for me. But until tonight when we're streaming Dice Masters, which is the new series we're starting about making dice and that dice journey, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.